Welcome to the Power of Owning Your Career podcast. I'm your host, Simone Morris, and I have a passion for empowering others to take responsibility for their careers. Yes, I've written several books on owning your career and am loving hosting this podcast. This podcast is for you if you're willing to make a shift to the driver's seat in your career. We feature leaders who inspire, empower, and motivate you for consistent career action for results. Please continue to join us every Sunday when a new episode is released. Let's get into this week's show. Welcome to this week's episode of the Power of Owning Your Career podcast. I am so excited for today's interview. You have a special treat. Today we have with us Elena Gosse, who is the CEO of AIS Water. She is based in Australia. Thank you, Elena, for getting up so early to meet with us. But a little bit more about Elena before we bring her onto the show. She is a successful CEO, a business owner, a public speaker, a mentor, an advocate against domestic and family violence. She believes in being the change she wants to see in the world. She's won over 50 business and personal awards. I want to ask her how she keeps track of all these awards. And she holds 2 university degrees. And in June of 2022, she was awarded the Order of Australia Medal for her services to manufacturing and the community. Elena, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for inviting me. It's always a
Absolutely.
pleasure to chat with you, Simone.
Oh, absolutely. I knew you were fabulous when I met you many years ago at the Women Future Conference, but reading your bio, I mean, first of all, how does one track that they've got 50 awards? Like, what have you been doing? This is amazing.
We are not tracking awards, but our PR consultants say we always need to stay current to prove that it's not just we had success many years ago. We are as successful, probably even more successful than we were yesterday.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So how did you become, like, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
I always wanted to be an actress. And I used to tell my math teacher that I would never need math in my life because I was a naturally born actress. And actually, I become an actress and scriptwriter, producer back in Russia, and even TV host. But of course, moving to Australia changed all my plans or changed my destiny.
Wow. So how did that change happen where you land in the top role, CEO of AIS Water, from being an actress and producer, etc.?
So basically, back in 1994, I met my now husband. After going through nasty divorce in Russia, 6 months later, I met my current husband, who is Russian-born, but he grew up in Australia. And of course, when he proposed, at first I say no, because like, why would you move somewhere when you already has built some sort of success and you are happy where you are? But the love won, and basically I followed my heart, and then moving to Australia, that was it's another story of this journey. But I found myself from being recognized on the street to being no one. Like I literally become no one because I didn't have any language. I didn't have any social network. I didn't have even shoulder to cry. So I had to start from the beginning. And of course, I could, for the rest of my life, I could basically tell the story how successful I was, or I had another on the crossroad. I had another way, and that is to start doing something to change my career, to change my path, to change, even reinvented myself, and move from the performance arts to, as it turned out, to manufacturing smarts. And because my husband already bought this manufacturing business, and it was only 3 employees, and I always joke that God gave my husband business, and then he gave him me to look after this business. But it was a long journey, because I was facing adversity in terms of when I decided just to help. All I wanted just to be helpful, just to do something, just to find my new identity. And I just wanted to help with filing or doing any other stuff. And that was a big rejection from AIS employees. And it also was some rejection even from my husband, because in his mind, husband and wife could not work together. Actually, in his mind was that woman should be at home, probably looking after family and family home, and it means job to run the business. And also, it's probably the big notion that like a pretty face can't have a brain. So I had to survive a battle of the sexes game, and to make so-called male-dominated industry, to make it my industry, to make it something that I proudly now say, this is my industry, and I'm responsible for a lot of positive changes within this industry.
I wonder if you can give some tips to our audience who's listening and saying, I'm in a male-dominated industry. What can I do so that I can thrive, not just survive that industry? Based on your experience, can you share some tips for others experiencing the same thing and wanting to thrive?
I think firstly, you need to change your own mindset and decide for yourself. It's not male industry. It's not male industry. It's my industry. And once you turn this mindset and you take ownership of the industry, then just be yourself. Because like for so many years, I tried to live someone else's life. I was trying to I was trying to wear someone else's shoes. I was trying to just fit in the industry, in the life in Australia, in the circles. I was just trying to be someone else. And then like the one thing, what I learned in life, just be yourself. Everyone else is taken. Because when you're authentic, when you are vulnerable, then it gives other permission to open up to you and connect on much deeper level. And once I accepted me and accepted that this is my industry, and like in family, in circles, you are change maker. Be the change you want to see around you. Be the change, like not just whinge. Be vulnerable. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to scream, scream. Make your point respectfully, but speak your mind. So only then we can change things around us, and only then we can succeed whenever you are.
What do you say to the folks who say that there needs to be space for me to scream, for me to cry, because there is that belief system that can hurt your career if you do, if it lands as you're not your EQ, your emotional intelligence quotient, like it's lower than it is because you're not able to manage those emotions in the way that others deem it should be managed and handled. But you're saying go forward and just be yourself fully, claim the space. What do you say to those people though who say there needs to be space for that?
You know what, I believe I'm not traditional CEO, because I'm taking my creative side from my entertainment career to make manufacturing business a much better and business where empathy, where family are one of the main values. And being non-traditional, I always look in how to develop myself, but also how to develop my team. And what I'm telling to everyone, and I show that every day by personal example and by other examples to my team of 47 people, that communication is the key. So it is absolutely safe and it should be safe environment when you can come and say, guys, like today I need extra hug, or today I am in the zone of no touch zone. Even I'm going through menopause, for example. I'm going through menopause. I need just personal space. Can you just please try to avoid me, because I cannot control my emotions today. So having, like, creating that safe atmosphere when people can communicate, and when people can say, okay, for example, you're working on something and you're setting your priorities, but then someone is bombarding you with something else, and being able to tell guys, like, I am happy to help you in any way, but I'm working on that project that I need to finish, or I'm emotional today because, like, the deadline is approaching and I'm not, it feels I'm not meeting this deadline. I need as much help as possible. So when you're able to communicate, and that means that you need to break through your own ego, because your ego most of the time tells you that's dangerous. Don't do that. Don't go through that red line, because you can be hurt, or you can be seen as too vulnerable, or that. This is story in our head. But if you smile at someone, I'm pretty sure you will get the smile back. If you talk to someone, and we are projecting our fear on others. And I can tell you a story, like one, it was a couple of years ago during the pandemic, and I was at the point, because as a leader, you need to be on top of everything. You need to show that it's all okay, guys, we all will be okay, and we go through it together. But then in your own space, you just feel, I can't go with that anymore. It's too much for me. And I finish up one day just breaking in tears in front of my people. And I thought, that's it. I need to just take time out and go to the health retreat, and just to look after my own personal health. And when I came back in 5 days, and I walk into the office, I walk into the reception, and everyone is happy, everyone is smiling. I say, oh, look, energy is so great here. What's happened here? And it took me time to realize they didn't go anywhere. They haven't changed. I changed. So when I changed internally, and when I changed, like, I was on much happy place, and I projected that into people, that made them happy. So that is why, if you are in a leadership position, would it be you lead in your family unit, you lead in your business, you lead in some department or whatever, you need to, your responsibility is to yourself. You're only responsible for maintaining your sanity, parking your ego, looking after your health, self-development, self-help, and that would bring others to the side, because you will give them permission to open up to you.
So tell us how you won over your husband and the company, so that you now sit in the top role. What has that journey been like, and how did you manage to make the moves where you sit in the top position?
I think I haven't tried to become someone, or I just seen what needs to be done. I could see business opportunities that others could not, and that probably my creative side helped me. I could see that we can make this business global. I could see that we could take advantage of the Northern Hemisphere and sell our product in Europe and now North America. But to go global, you need to develop a global product. So we started to invest in research and development, and developing the products that no one have. Something like to create to differentiate ourselves. And first, like, we had to say no to big revenue stream, and that is like selling chemicals. That was giving us revenue, but that was, like, to me, competing with our with values I was trying to introduce to business, and that is like to be sustainable business. But if you producing technology that saves a lot of water, but then you sell chemicals that that sometimes kill our health, it's like you need to be consistent in the messages you're trying to bring the world. And of course, like I surrounded myself with like-minded people who shared my same values of drive, determination, positivity, innovation. And eventually, like, I won the battle of the sexes. If I was like, say 25 years ago, I was my husband's wife. Now it's more probably he's my husband. Things that change.
Oh, that's awesome. If you were to think about your career in acting and, you know, as head of AIS Water today, what are some of the key ingredients or the formula for successfully owning your career? What's necessary to be successful? What would you say?
I think firstly, you need to learn how to avoid dream takers. Because sometimes we don't understand that dream takers are people who we love and trust the most, but who have doubts in our abilities, or who are trying to protect us. And you need to follow your dream, but most like it's not just dream. You need to take action, because to me, the way I see personal growth and development and how you inspire others, I always like talk about it's like a spiral, and you're only responsible. I thought for many years that I need to drag everyone to somewhere and everything, until I realized that it's like a spiral, and you are responsible for your own growth, for your own development. And then you go higher and higher on this spiral. Your vibration is getting higher and higher. And that's how you start to create followers. That's how you inspire people. And people who are on your journey, they will join your revolution, or they join your journey, and they will continue to go with you. But people who are not part of your journey, they will just simply move away. And it doesn't mean that they are bad people or you something. It just means that you are not aligned in your values. And of course, like another thing that you need to, as a leader, it is my responsibility to make sure that the internal climate is very healthy. And it's my responsibility to see when I need to lead, to let some people go. And I'm doing that from position of love, not position, because sometimes and I was that when I thought that it is my responsibility to develop everyone to the things that but sometimes as a leader, my responsibility to realize that business overgrowth certain people. Thank you, people. And from the position of love, explain to them that they probably would be happier somewhere else when they are more aligned. Everyone, like I'm always trying to talk on the soul level. So as talk soul to soul conversation, and see and if we as business overgrow, if I can see that person just need upskilling, and I always say, guys, see what you need, whatever you need from the business, let me know, and we will see how can we provide that for you internally or externally. But sometimes, like, and you can see that people resistant to change, and our business is very dynamic. We are always moving forward. And some people just like, no, this is the way we've done things 20 years ago, and I don't want to do anything else. So this is the time when you say, thank you so much for all your contribution to the business to date, but it's time for us to part. And the beauty about this spiral I was talking about is just like when you're growing, when you're going on this spiral higher and higher, and your vibration is higher, you actually will meet people eventually who are higher vibrationally than you are. And they are not allowed to come to you. You need to grow to them. And be open-minded in your career. Just don't say like, I know this is what I think. Be open-minded, channel stuff. Universe has all the answers, but sometimes what we forget is just simply ask question or ask for help.
What sort of professional development have you gotten involved in or taken advantage of to really grow as a leader?
I am on my spiritual development. Every year I'm going to Bali, and I'm spending time in pyramids of Chi or working with shamans. So this is part of me. But also I'm part of the Executive Connection. This is it's a global organization, but also for second year I'm part of actually USA-based CEO Connections, which I love. I love the community, and having that. And I'm sort of person, when I learn something that I can feel will benefit someone else, I'm running back to the office, to my circle. Guys, I learned this. I want you to know that. And all the development, like this year in my company, the focus on entrepreneurship. So we are developing every person, and for that, like during my time at the Executive Connections, we came across a lot of workshops, and one I had like a few months ago, that was removing blinkers, brain blinkers, and that is like, and that like removing limiting beliefs. And all of us, I'm sure all your audience can relate to that we've got that at least one limiting belief. And mine was that I cannot paint because like when I was 5, I was sort of punished by my father because I painted my sister's face, and he thought she's bleeding, so I was belted, and since then I never painted. And I was joking about it. I say, oh look, I was very talented, but then it was belted out of me. And then suddenly during this workshop, the facilitators say, and now we will paint the picture. And you should see, like, I probably got white, and then I start shaking and being like all CEOs in the room and their partners. And I thought, how I can get out? Get me out. But then we all, like, he gave us some sort of instruction and guided us through the process. And now my painting is actually framed, and I'm just proudly show it to everyone. So when I've done that, of course, I invited straight away Anthony to run workshop for our people as well. We will have it in March. So it's very interesting. And because we are celebrating our 30th anniversary, and I say all my team will be on stage dancing. And I know there is probably, because they're technical people, probably half of them, they fear the limiting belief. You can see. And I say, Anthony, that's your actually task. You need to clear that limiting belief that they cannot dance, because there is no escape. They all will be dancing on stage.
Oh, that's awesome. I wonder, do you feel that culturally, you said you came over to the US, were you able to be your authentic self? And you talked about vulnerability earlier in the show. Were you able, in that community of CEOs, able to show up authentically as Elena?
Absolutely. I found actually that in US, it's much easier for me to be me. Because in Australia, sometimes the tall poppy syndrome is high, or you need to, like, people, oh, sometimes I say something, we go, oh, but I learned just not to pay attention to that. Like, it's me. You take it as I am. You like it or you don't like it. There's people who like it. There's people who are for whom it's just like very confronting, very, very challenging at the beginning. But after being unwell about 12 years ago, I learned that no, this is me. This is me. There is. I'm unique. There is no one else. But if I will try to copy Simone, if I will try to copy Marie or someone else, it's not me anymore, and I will not come authentic. But people who, for example, even who are resistant, like who are just had, oh, it's too much. but when they know me better, that like in terms of business, I know that our customers, they want to deal with me because they know always where they are standing. And if I am how to say it, I don't believe in contracts or all this stuff, but I believe in the given word. So everyone knows if Elena gave word, it's better, like it's matter of it's die but deliver. So I will always meet deadlines. I will always keep to my promises. But sometimes you can write, and the most frustrating to me when people can give you word, but then, oh, oops, and by the way, oops, and by the way, so that is not acceptable to me.
If you were to write a book about your career, what would the title be?
I am actually writing book, and that is very interesting story because I was on the way to Richard Branson Necker Island, and that was back in 2019. And I stopped at Caribbeans, and we had distributor there, and I was just, oh, I'm going to leadership gathering. And a couple of days later, he's saying, Elena, what leadership you are talking about? And I'm, oops, my pronunciation. And I told my friend who is my vocal coach as well. And I said, Lisa, John doesn't understand me. He thinks like I'm talking about leadership, and he's thinking I'm saying about leadership. And she said, darling, say lead a ship. And that changed the meaning. When I came back to Australia, that basically when I was telling that story, and people say, Elena, you need to write a book about that. So I'm writing that about the continuous cycle to success. It's not leadership book. It's more holding your hand. It's more like personal development book, but it's basically telling you that being in leadership is okay. It's actually exciting because that's the cycle where you are growing, and then you are leading a shift, and then you leading a ship for a short period of time, and then you setting your bar higher, and then you back in the leadership.
I love that. I love that. In my mind, I'm imagining a visual in your book. That's exciting. Congratulations. I look forward to seeing your book when it's released. Talk to us about risk and how you embrace taking a risk in your career.
I think it's a risk is part of me because I think via risk, there is a different type of risks, like financial and risk of any type of risk. And as CEO or as a leader, you actually embracing all these risks. But I think you cannot take risk if you are not confident. Mm-hmm. So I'm taking risk, but I prefer calculated risks, mm-hmm. Based made on informative decision. Because my employees sometimes, oh, Elena, it's so easy for you. Like there is a need decision to be made, and 5 minutes later you made a decision. No, it's not that easy. You actually ask, firstly, you need to know all the pros and cons. You need to constantly keep your hand on the pulse of the business, and then ask a few questions. Then it's easy. It's easy to take. Then it's easy to take risk because you know what is behind what you're risking. So otherwise, it's just gambling. But why would you gamble?
I know, because of that sound, that jingling sound when you get to Las Vegas in the airport that calls you to hit the slot machines, i.e. me.
But even in Las Vegas, like you can have calculated risks. Like if I'm going, and from time to time, of course, like when you're in Las Vegas, you need to fly at least once. And I usually take like $20 and I play with very safely on $20, and then I put this $20 back and I play with casinos money.
Yeah.
And if they finish, If they finish, well, I still have my $20. I didn't lose anything. But if I win something else, again, I divide it. I put a part of the win back to my pocket, or change it and play with the rest. And once, I think it was back in 2005, I think my husband and I went to the first trade show in Las Vegas, and basically all my clothes were purchased with Las Vegas money.
Nice. Well, you were big, it sounds like.
Yeah, but I'm not a gambler. I just like, I know so many stories when people just lost absolutely everything. You need to be responsible.
Are you in the driver's seat now in your career?
Absolutely. I'm on the driver's seat of my life, of my career, of my personal development. Yes, I am, I think, at the top of the top, and I will be 60 this year. So
you are fabulous. You look fabulous. What's next for you?
Next for me, I don't know, taking company to 100 million US. And I remember when I was introduced to CEO Connections, and that is the networking group for mid-market CEOs with from 100 million US to 3 billion. And there I am, small Australian company who was introduced to CEO Connections. And I remember that CEO, Kenneth, and he say, okay, you will be our guinea pig. And I say, don't call me guinea pig. I'm your success story. So nice. we build our friendships in. So I believe that we are, like AIS celebrated its 30th anniversary in September. We are yet to celebrate it with the industry. But I believe we are at the new chapter. We are at the new beginning. And we just built our third manufacturing facility, and we will be adapting our anode material to clean energy. So we will be not transitioning from swimming pool industry, but we will be taking business to the new height.
Wonderful. Well, we wish you success as you move forward. I want to thank you for being a guest on the show. Any parting words or additional career wisdom that you'd like to share before we close out?
I think one thing I would love to tell, firstly, thank you, Simone. Thank you to your audience for being with us today. But most importantly, I can't stress enough on that. Just be yourself. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. By being unique, being vulnerable, practicing empathy, you can achieve anything.
I love that. I love that. What an inspiring message for us to remember. If our audience members want to stay connected with you, what's the best place to find you?
I think it's just the best to connect through LinkedIn. So you can look at our website at aswater.com.au. But the best to connect through LinkedIn, and it's like Elena Gosse, Gosse. Elena Gosse, and then send me a message.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on the Power of Owning Your Career podcast.
Thank you, Simone. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
I sincerely hope that you enjoyed this week's empowering career story on the podcast. If you did, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Wherever you listen to the podcast, be sure that you are subscribing and that you rate and review the podcast. It's so important as we continue to spread the word of career empowerment. In addition, you can head over to the LinkedIn platform and join the Power of Owning Your Career discussion group. There you can have access to the guests who have been on the podcast, as well as others listening to the podcast, as well as myself, where we can continue the conversation. I hope to see you on that platform. You can also email me at pooyc@simonemorris.com if you have a suggestion for guest or a message that you want me to hear personally. Thanks so much, and make it an inspiring, empowering week in your career.